car people, especially of a certain age, love the V10 engine. I've said it before, but the sound that a V10 engine makes has been ingrained into so many people's minds from when they were popular in Formula 1, and a few select road cars have been powered by 10 cylinders and have been loved for it. Sadly, nowadays, the V10 engine is essentially dead, with the Audi R8 and Lamborghini Huracan being the last two mainstream cars to have V10s. Although, if you've been watching some of our recent videos, you may have seen that we could be about to rediscover another V10 road car in the near future. Today, however, we're at Judd Power in Warwickshire, because these guys develop brand new V10 engines that you could buy off the shelf today, if you can afford them. Judd is one of the most famous engine builders in motorsport, starting as a small team of engineers in 1971 and becoming synonymous with Formula 1. Customers of Judd have included the Lotus, Williams, Tyrrell and Arrows F1 teams, and drivers that have driven cars that had Judd engines in them include Hakkinen, Piquet, Mansell and Hill. Now, Judd's mainstay is V8 engines for everything from hill climb cars to LMP2 cars to, of course, Formula 1 cars. But we're here today to take a look at an engine that's potentially the greatest sounding powertrain currently in production. This is the biggest and baddest engine that Judd makes, the GV 5.5 litre V10. Now, this engine is eligible for LMP1 racing, and it's a completely naturally aspirated motor. It's actually its smaller sister engine, the 5 litre, that creates the most power, 800 brake horsepower and a rev limit of just over 8,000 RPM. This engine has powered some very special cars, the Pescarolo C60 and the Dallara SP1, to name just a few. Who remembers that stunning PlayStation livery Dallara SP1? This was the engine that powered it. Now, Headphone users, I'm warning you now, things are about to get very, very loud, because we're going to show some clips of what this thing sounds like in anger. Editor, cue the clips. As I said, this engine could be used by a really well-off customer at Le Mans in the LMP1 class, but due to change in the Le Mans regulations and also the dominance of the factory teams at Le Mans over the last 10 years, Judd has taken a step back from the top tier of motorsport and is instead looking into the historic racing market, which is really starting to boom these days. Gentlemen racers use Judd engines to keep their cars running, because they are seen as an affordable way to keep even the most thoroughbred of cars on the racetrack. You can't feasibly keep, say, a 2002 spec V10 F1 car going for a season at any sort of reasonable cost. But put one of these Judd V10s in, and you've got a guaranteed 3,000 miles of running, as well as an engine that's not going to throw a hissy fit every race weekend, and shouldn't be a nightmare to fix or maintain. As well as developing their own engines, the guys and girls at Judd also have the expertise to fix and maintain highly strung V10s from other manufacturers as well, like this Yamaha, Peugeot, Arrows and Renault. This engine is from the Williams FW18, but the cream of the crop is just over there. This is about as good as it gets. This is the Renault F1 3.5 litre engine from the Williams FW15 from 1993. Now we've got it hooked up to the dyno, and the engineers here are some of the only people in the world that can keep one of these things running. We're not going to completely rev it out to its rev limit today, but let's see how high we go. Now this video wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for today's sponsor, Liqui Moly. Liqui Moly provides lubricants for every single car in the world, as well as engine additives to protect your engine and even decrease fuel consumption. Now I'm going to be putting some of this stuff in my Mondeo ST, and there's a link in the description below where you can have a browse and check out what products they have for your car. Everything from engine oil to brake fluid to engine flush. Click the link, have a browse, and see what they have for your car. Mr. Judd, thank you so much for having us. What makes this Judd V10 so special?
The V10 has proven to be a very cost-effective, durable, generally reliable. First ran the engine 30 years ago, and we've been able to develop it, adapt it, change it. We've got 3 litre, 3.5 litre, 4.2, 4 litre, 5 litre and 5.5 litre versions for, been installed in lots of cars. So it's proven to be a great platform for us.
And you're very famous for your V10s and V8s. What makes them easier to maintain than, say, a manufacturer engine like the Renault or the Peugeot?
Really, it's the availability of the parts. We've designed and manufactured on site. We've still got the drawings and the programs to make everything. Because we're a private business, that they're designed in a cost-effective way, which isn't the case with the manufacturer engines. You get an engine from somebody else, and you can't, in general, you can't buy the original parts. Renault won't sell you pon rods or crankshafts or anything. So if an engine comes in and it needs parts replacing, you have to reverse engineer them, and that's quite a costly exercise.
And we're kind of lamenting the V10 both in road cars, there's barely any of them left, and in motorsport. Do you think there's a future for the V10 engine?
Sadly, in reality there isn't a great future for it. It's probably had its day. Obviously the financial situation, the difficulties that privateer teams have. Realistically, I don't think we're going to see one of our V10s running at Le Mans again. But thankfully, there's still a market for them in the historic single-seater and sports car racing.
Well, thank you again for having us, and long live this engine.
I'll toast that. Thank you for coming.
I've been lucky enough to attend numerous historic racing events while working at Drive Tribe, and it's always the Judd V10s that make everyone sit up and take notice. So if you're lucky enough in future to own a V8 or V10 racing car, it's good to know that a place like this exists. And in a world now full of hybridization, small capacity turbocharged engines and EVs, it's heartwarming to know that these engines can still make an absolute racket.